Hey everybody, Dr. Caitlin here with Fit PT. I'm going to take you through one of our favorite glute exercise series on hands and knees. This is a really good one for many people who are trying to work on coordinating that activation between their core and their glutes, specifically their glute max and glute medius and minimus muscles, and those deep hip rotators. So there's a few different exercises here that are going to kind of key into each of those, but if you put it together as a full series, you're going to get a comprehensive glute workout, and I promise you will feel the burn by the end. We are going to focus in on, speaking to those that are working on glute strength with relation to running and walking. This is a really great example of an exercise to work on for those types of activities. All right, so let's get started. I would suggest if you have a small Pilates or mini ball, I have mine partially deflated. It just makes it a little bit easier to work with. So if you have something similar at home, go ahead and grab that. So the first exercise we're gonna do, I call pizza tosses. Some people recognize this as like donkey kicks. That's the other exercise name I've heard it called. But I don't know, somewhere along the line someone called it pizza toss and I just have kind of stuck with it. So I'm gonna place the ball between my calf and my glute, and I'm gonna give it a little squeeze, activating those hamstrings, okay? So the hamstrings are actively working the whole time. And then we're gonna get into activating the glute max at the top of the range of motion. And what I want you to think about is activating the base of your seat. So I tell my clients in-house here, think about activating the bottom of your butt cheek, all right? I'm gonna place my hands directly underneath my shoulders, knees are directly underneath my hips, and I'm gonna take an inhale from my rib cage, think about breathing through the bra strap region. As I exhale, I'm gonna connect to my core by pulling my belly up and in, creating a little core brace. I'm gonna hold my core brace through that exhale as I drive my heel up towards the sky. Now at the top, I'm thinking about that glute max, bottom of my butt cheek is active, and then I inhale, I reset and breathe in to come down. Exhale, core brace first, belly up and in, drive that heel up, glute is active at the top. So we're not squeezing our cheeks together to activate those glutes, but rather we're extending the hip at the top, and that's activating that glute muscle. The gluteus maximus muscle is the largest muscle in the body, actually, and it's one of the most underutilized muscles, which is pretty ironic, I think, because of how intense and large and powerful it is. I think a lot of it has to do with how much we sit throughout the day. We just kind of start to turn those glute muscles off. And so we want to make sure that we're turning them on. That's the first step. Now, I'm just gonna kind of go through this repetition here. Inhaling as my knee comes down, that's somewhat of a reset. For the core, exhale, reactivate the core, then lift, find the glutes. So think about your butt and your gut working together, all right? It's a nice little rhyme to help you remember what we're focused in on. Now, a couple things to keep in mind as you're doing these pizza tosses. I do have my foot flexed. Technically, you could point the toe, but there is a fun little neurological connection between that ankle dorsiflexion position, which is like heel up, and activating the glutes. So if you're someone who struggles with glute activation, I might suggest heel pressed to the sky rather than toes pointed. The other thing to be aware of is notice I'm not opening my hip. My foot is going flat and straight to that sky. I'm also not shifting my weight over to my left leg as my right leg comes up. So there's actually a lot of intensity in my core to hold me steady as I do that, all right? Now, I like to suggest doing at least 10, maybe even upwards of 15 of these in a row, and then you can choose to either switch sides, do the pizza tosses on the other side right away, or you can fatigue this muscle out further by just following me with the new exercises. All right, so we're gonna move right on to exercise number 2. So exercise number 2 is gonna be frog legs. So many people are familiar with a fire hydrant, which is when that knee comes straight out to the side, and then we just did donkey kicks or pizza tosses going straight back. I want you to find something in between. You are gonna let your knee turn out, hip externally rotates, your heel is pointed somewhat backward, and your knee isn't out to 90 degrees from your body, but rather 45 degrees back, okay? And I'm already shaking. Inhale, knee comes back in. Exhale, hold your core, your body steady. Just like a frog was jumping in the air, that's the position of your leg that I want you to think of making, okay? Exhale, lift. Now, we're still focusing in on activating the glute at the top, but now we're focusing a little bit more on the outer part of the glute. So I say the cheeky part of your glute. Exhale, core, belly up and in. Lift and reach. Now notice I'm not dumping through my chest. I'm trying to, as best I can, push that ground away. Strong shoulders. Don't let your chest or your upper back dump towards the ground. Don't hike those shoulders up towards your ears. Notice I'm not going super fast. There's a little pause at the top. I find that sometimes when people start going quickly, they start swinging their leg with momentum. I want you to be really intentional. Pretend like you're moving your leg through mud, activating those muscles. I promise you'll get more out of this and you'll have to do less reps. Good. All right, so that's exercise number 2, frog legs. Exercise number 3, circles. All right, number 3 has part 1 and part 2, so we got to circle both ways. So what this looks like is I'm going to kind of combine the 2 motions in a smooth fashion. So I'm going to start to exhale, leg comes up and out, and then I come back in. Now I'm not worried about bringing my knee super far forward, so I'm really kind of going from that kick, pizza toss, frog leg, and around. Now this is the exercise for me in particular that I want to drop the ball by extending my leg or straightening my knee. So that's where the ball comes in handy, is it makes sure that you're not starting to activate the quads on the front of the body. We're keeping most of this in the back. Glutes and hamstrings. Core is holding you steady. Good, we'll do one more here. And now I'm gonna reverse it. Out, up, down. Can you see me shaking yet? Up, down, good. It's also upper body workout. So I'm, for time purpose here, kind of just flowing through all 3 of these, but feel free to, as I mentioned before, switch sides in between if you would like, or give your upper body a break and roll out your wrists in between, okay? You technically could also do this exercise on like a little step or a bench on your forearms, okay? You wouldn't want it to be too high of a surface, but if it was just like a 1-foot bench or step or something, and you just wanted to put your forearms on there to alleviate any wrist discomfort, you technically could do that. Okay, very good. I would always suggest a little glute stretch after that one. So my favorite is a figure 4 stretch. You've probably seen me do this before. Laying on your back, I'm stretching my right side, crossing my right ankle bone over my left thigh, giving my knee a little press downward towards my toes. You can stay here. You can gently rock side to side, or if you want to level it up a little bit, deeper stretch, pull that left thigh in towards you. Once again, little rock side to side to stretch out those glute muscles we just worked so hard on. All right, so figure 4 stretch, glute stretch is always well-deserved after that series. All right, you guys, that is one of my very favorite glute and core exercises given to many of my runners, my walkers, and just individuals who have tight hip flexors that we're trying to open up their hips by getting more active on the backside. Those glute muscles are important and they're often underutilized. So I hope that you try this at home. You can feel that burn. You can think of me later when those glutes are sore. And if you like what you see here, I encourage you to follow us at Your Fit PT for more content and education. We'll see you later.